What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Zero Chill. I realize we've stopped calling it Zero Chill, but the session where Varun and I bato Gyan is called Zero Chill. Varun, what are we talking about today?
We are batoing Gyan today. I'm just kidding. We're going to be talking about Zoom interviews or Skype interviews or Google Meet interviews or whatever, WhatsApp group call interviews, whatever, floats your boat.
Online interviews, the new normal. We're talking about interviews in the new normal.
I was speaking to a VC today, okay? And we were just chatting about, Zoom versus in person. And he was telling me, dude, Zoom is the new normal. And that's it. We don't even think about offline anymore. So
the world has adapted. I don't know if you're lagging behind, but if you're lagging behind and if you're still making those newbie
then this
mistakes,
video is for you.
Yeah, indeed. Why don't you press the bell icon while you're at it, and
Subscribe
we'll roll in the intro. Follow your passion might be a perfect question to ask and might have a perfect answer when interpreted right.
Let's start tracking which stocks can actually go up and go down, or which stocks have an advantage with the vaccine coming out.
Why it would have been more expensive to fake a moon landing back in those days. It's quite an interesting video to watch.
The economic activity created from the App Store alone is worth $500 billion.
So let's move on to the next question.
Man, it was too easy.
Too easy, no? Why didn't you answer?
So as you guys know, there is this nice little box that we usually give out to people, which, just look at the box. Is this Avalon style? Like this box? It's a tiny box.
It's too tiny.
Hold this.
The current rendition of Avalon.
Hold this. Hang on. Hold this. Did you guys subscribe to us? Because I'm about to show you something else.
Wait, but what is this about? What's the box thing about?
So guys, as you all know, we give out a box on every live session. If you stay to the ending, we ask you one question. If you answer that question well and everybody likes the answer, then you win the box. But that box is too small. That's not Avalon style. You want a nice box? I think I wanted you to hold it up for comparison.
Okay, but it's double the size. Let me go get it.
It's
Damn.
so heavy. I feel like I'm in the hyperbolic time chamber.
I think it's easily double the size.
It's like triple or something, like in
volume. In volume, of course. Look at the comparison. And it's nicer, brighter, well designed, and of course, it packs more goodies.
Yep. So
heavier.
So if you want to win the box, stay till the ending.
This is what it looks like now.
We'll ask you a question. If you answer it well, then you win the box.
It's like a bumper prize now.
Right? It's like, it's pretty big. All right.
Cool. What are we talking about? We're talking about Zoom interviews. Varun, what is, we've been in the new normal for quite a while. For a moment, we thought that companies wouldn't be recruiting, but we also saw that we bounced back pretty quickly. Sensex is at an all-time high. The global economy is also recovering because of banks putting in more money, facilitating lending. So interviews are happening. The people are hiring again, right? The job listings are back. How is it happening? What's the adoption like? What is the interviewing landscape like? How has it changed? You come from a recruitment sphere. You've spent 3 years of your life in recruitment sector. What's happening now?
Well, I think it's changing. Obviously, look, we're no strangers to Zoom classes, right? Everyone's been doing classes on Zoom. But I think even recruitment is being done on Zoom. In fact, even investments are being done on Zoom. Everything is purely on Zoom, right? The only thing is, see, I'm going to use the word signal here, okay? And this is not to do with the app, not Signal the app. Every recruiter, every VC, whoever it is who's making a decision and judging you, is always judging you is taking a decision based on something called a signal. Now in the real world, if you meet me, I'll shake your hand. Right? I'll talk a certain way, I'll act a certain way, body language, right? And that adds to signal. It adds to the signal. So there's like in every recruiter's brain there's this score. Okay, they don't know. Maybe they're not speaking about it, but they have this inbuilt score, and you just need to tick all the right boxes. On Zoom, that's harder to do because one big box, one massive box, as big as this box, is called your body language, and that's gone. That's off the table. Now you can say on Zoom your body language is just not the same. You can't feel the aura of a person in real life. Aura, obviously, I mean it in a very physical way, and that's the big difference.
So you got to be extra careful about the nitty-gritties, the limited variables
You
that you
need to
have.
tick more check boxes. Look, there are many check boxes. There are check boxes like references. Where have you worked before, right? Have those people had a good time? Are your credentials what you say they are, right? Do you have a portfolio? So there are many check boxes. Some even as, are you presentable? Like if you just wake up and you're wearing like some t-shirt, you might be really great, but you're not going to miss out on that box. Some people are so good that they can wake up in like pajamas and score the right points, because obviously your pajamas are not on screen, but you could wake up wearing rags, but you might be so good that you still get the job. But if you are not the best in your industry, then you need to tick more boxes. You need to get more signal.
And I think you spoke about the tick box, a very big box being presentability. If whether you're presentable, I mean, it has a lot of variables that you can tweak and optimize and operate on when you're doing it in person. But when it comes to Zoom, the variables in presentability kinda reduce, but you have much more to do in it. We'll get to that eventually, but let's start by defining the kind of interviews that are taking place. And if you're not already aware, there are two kind of virtual interviews that you can be a part of. One, of course, is the one-on-one call where you're, the panel interview where you have 5 people joining from 5 different cameras, and then you sitting right in front of them, talking to them, and they're all gazing at you. Judging. So that's a normal interview. There are also interviews that are done at the lower end of the process. What do I mean by at the lower end of the process? When you have, let's say, 100, 200 applications and you've got to sift through them and only do one-on-one interviews with the top 10 people. So what do? What recruiters are doing is recruiters are throwing 5 questions or 10 questions via email at you, but they want video responses to those questions. And how you recording those videos? You're doing it via Zoom. And there are certain factors that you got to take care of, when you're doing that Zoom interview, whether it's pre-recorded or it's live. The very first one is a rather funny one. This has been a bomber for a lot of candidates I have interviewed. I've rolled out a few, job postings on my Instagrams. The people who come in, I've interviewed them. So the very first bomber is bad location. I've legit had people who've been at noisy cafes, who've been sitting at CCDs and Starbucks. No, Starbucks is still better, but they'd be sitting at random restaurants and taking the call. There is no attention paid to the background. There is no attention paid to the camera angle. It's super basic, but a lot of people, why I'm saying this, why I had to bring it to the conversation today, is a lot of people are not paying attention to it. Noisy backgrounds. So I had a guy who was taking the interview on Zoom. I was sitting on my PC. The person was accessing Zoom via his phone in a cab, in the middle of in the middle of traffic. There were horns that were buzzing. So do not do that. Have some respect. It's obviously not like you're walking into a building, being primed by the receptionist. It's not the same feeling anymore. But you still got to show the same level of respect. That is not happening. And bad location is not just bad background. It is as I spoke about.
It's more about the surroundings. Like I'll give you an example, right? One of the interviews that I was taking very recently for the video editor guy, I was talking to one guy. His dad came in. Okay, he's like, "Kaisa chal?" And I could hear, and I'm watching it. Okay, and he's like, and the dad is like, after 5 minutes, and I was just like, dude. At the end of the day, we still we don't judge based on, or we try not to. But how is it possible not to? We are all human. We get a lot of applications. We interview them. If there are 2 people who are similar and you can't choose between the 2, if there's one guy who's constantly shooing his dad out, it feels weird. Like whether I like it or not, that one checkbox is going to be not ticked. That professionalism. Because in the future, right, you're always, I've seen this before. You'll come to me later and you'll say, oh, my dad's not letting me do this, or I have to do this, or there's disturbance in the house. You think that's not a common excuse? You have no idea.
Right.
Right? Half my team who is remote, and half our team is remote, half the other team is here in where we stay. The team that's remote is always coming up with excuses. They're always like, oh, this is, this is missing today, this internet connection gone, this person disturbing. Dude, that's not an excuse.
And that's, I mean, we kind of accept these excuses because they've already entered into our ecosystem. They're already full-time employees, and full-time employees are like a part of us, so we got to accept it. But when it comes to first-time impressions, when you're getting into an ecosystem, or when you're barricaded by these interviews, if you've spoiled your first time impression, people are ruthless when they're judging you for the first time. So take care of that. Take care of the fact that no one pops in through your room. You're sitting in a closed room setting. And you know what? Why it doesn't strike people, this is more for you than them, is because these guys, when they're attending classes on phone, they're
it feels normal to you.
They're proxying their attendance. The Zoom part of education hasn't worked. So they think, that it's normal to do the job interviews like that.
Exactly the same way. Yeah, it's not cool.
Yeah. What's the second thing, Varun?
I think one of the important things for me, especially when it comes to just Zoom conversations, is I need to see what you've created. Like for me, that's the main thing. Like even before Zoom, on email, if you have a wonderful portfolio, and I can confirm that you've made it, whether it be in design or code or sales, whatever it is, if you have a wonderful portfolio and you can prove it, for me, that's the icing on the cake.
So the mistake is just treating the interview as your all-in shot, and not doing the pre-priming
Pre-work,
up.
yeah. You need to do pre-work, right? Which is send me, like, one thing that I really liked by this one guy, he created a notion. I don't know if you remember the guy who's working on our product. What's his name?
Himanshu. Himmi, Gulabi Tendua on Discord. That's his name. Go ahead.
I don't know, but he created this wonderful Notion document. He's like, Varun, you have this one specific problem in the company. Here is a beautiful Notion document with images about how to solve that problem. And I was just sold. I was just like, who is this guy? Like, give him an offer instantly. I didn't even sit on the Zoom call. It was just the decision was made at that point, at the documentation.
Yeah, it was a WhatsApp text. I was like, Varun, this is going to blow your mind. He's like, mind blown. Accepted.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. And why Varun really brought up this point of doing your homework. This kind of occurs naturally to you when you are going in a physical interview. You're readying your portfolio, making a nice file pouch of it and taking it along. It doesn't occur to you when you're doing your interviews online. You should focus on this. And there's another, when Varun spoke about not doing the pre-work homework, there is also another part, Varun, that I think you're the best person to talk about it. Scanning up the company, scanning up the core propositions of the company, scanning up your interviewer. How do you do that? It's called social listening.
Yeah,
what is social listening?
I mean, this is a problem more in the Avalon Labs days when people didn't know us. Now, more people know us. But in the Avalon Labs days, it was so funny. People come, be like, do you know what Avalon Lab does? They'll be like, no, I just saw this on LinkedIn and I came. And this is in physical meetings, right? And I'll just like stare at them. I'll be like, okay, here's what we do. And I explain. I sit down and explain what we do. And they'll be like, okay, sir. And I'll be like, okay, do you know what role you're here for? And usually they give me a general idea of the role.
They'd be checking on AngelList. Okay, I applied for business dev.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you how it is. It's spray and praise. Like I apply for 10 companies. I don't know what the hell these companies do. And then I go there and I'm like, let me hope I get lucky.
It's like lottery. You're swiping right on your...
Yeah, it's like Tinder. It's like if I get a match, then I'll
Hallelujah.
talk. Right? Then we'll see. So it's somewhat like that. And it's just, it's stupid. Right? Luckily, we don't have the same problems now because most people have at least a little bit of context on us and we don't even entertain the rest. But if you are joining a company that's not so well known, do your research.
Do your social
And you don't have to do it like when you apply because you never know, right? Don't keep those hopes in your hand. What you do is before the interview, maybe 1 hour before the interview, and we do this sometimes when we have calls and stuff.
No, we do this to our potential investors and the biggest of the deals that we have.
Yeah,
and it also works in interviews.
When we do corporate deals, we do this,
yes.
right? For example, we're talking to a Fortune 500 company right now, right? To see if we can have a lot of their students or their employees be students again. For those deals, we will do our research. We'll find out what this company is, what the department does, who the person is, which school he went to. We will do our homework. We call it homework, right? So whenever we're going for a meeting, suppose me and Abhinav are going for a meeting, I'll be like, what's the homework? Can you send me the homework? Right? It's literally done like a very schoolish fashion. Abhinav will send me the homework. I'll look through it. I'll be like, wow, okay, these are the talking points for us, right? We should definitely not go in this direction because this is not something they're interested in. So you need to know what interests the company and what doesn't. I'll give you an example. When you're on TV, right? Suppose you see an ad for ice cream and you really hate vanilla ice cream and you see an ad for vanilla ice cream, you're not going to convert. But if you see chocolate ice cream and you really like chocolate ice cream, you're more likely to convert. Even though at the end of the day, they're both ice creams, right? So two designers, they might be great designers, but if you're joining a finance company or a financial services company, if you say, I do design specifically for finance, then you're more likely to be selected because they're like, he understands my problem. You don't understand. The value of somebody understanding your problem is, there's a word for it, it's called empathy. Right? Having empathy for your problem is unparalleled. I pay a premium for somebody who understands my audience, who understands their empathy. We hired a meme guy, right, for video editing. And the reason we hired the meme guy for video editing is because he had empathy for our audience. He had an audience of his own, right? So I think that's scanning up your employer very, very important. Best way to do it is LinkedIn.
Best way to do is LinkedIn as well as Twitter. You can, in fact, if you've figured out who your interviewer is, sometimes you cannot know, but if you can know who's going to be interviewing you, go scan up his or her Twitter feed, go scan up his or her LinkedIn feed, understand how new they are to their job role. Are they the decision maker? If people are new to a certain job role, if they're 6 months into a job role, they're actually looking for, they're looking to make a mark in their job. So you can trigger them that way, that okay, I can help you make a mark in your organization. So that's something that works very well when we do B2B sales, can also apply to interviews. Second thing is, if he's a football fan, you can, plug a subtle mention of that in your interview, that okay, I love Man U. I was up late until 2 a.m. just watching that match, and it sucks how we have to listen to the white noise in the absence of actual crowd in the COVID days. So you can talk about all of these things. Just scan up your interviewer. These things might not be meritocracy. These things might not, be logical, but they do work. At the end of the day, you're talking to
you have to understand humans make decisions not logically but emotionally.
Yeah.
Even in like business, it's just how it is, and we've seen this, like the best of businesses do this
everywhere. Cool. Talking about the third point, I want to come back to again, logistical points, because it just struck me that guys, the biggest annoyance that I've had while interviewing folks is equipment failure. What I mean by equipment failure is your camera fails, or your audio fails. You're not
buffering.
You're not testing your equipment. I'm sorry, I have network issues. So all of that. I mean, even if you're testing it, anticipate interruptions.
Because you're stealing somebody else's time, which is as bad as stealing somebody
else's
else's
money. I've had interviews that have, that had to reschedule after an hour, and my time is not free. Even your interviewer's time is not free. So the best thing that you can do in certain situations, because I understand some of these situations are unavoidable. Maybe you had a power cut. So what you're going to do is you're going to have a plan B. What can the plan B be? This is how Shashank takes his calls. Shashank would be sitting on a computer, but on the right hand side, he would also have a tripod with a phone ready. If he has to quit this live stream, he will, if the live stream goes down because of some failure, he would switch to his phone. So have a plan B. And address that plan B upfront. Okay, sir or ma'am, in case this doesn't go through, we can in case this the conversation gets interrupted, I'm also available on this, and we'll switch to that place. People will appreciate you for valuing their time. So again, test your equipment and also have a plan B, and mention your plan B upfront. Yeah. What's the fourth one, Varun?
Look, I mean, when it comes to interviews, right? One of the things, the first statement or the the first few statements, let's say, I think is very important. For me, what somebody opens with, especially if I'm not convinced about them from their email or whatever, is very important. So some people just like, for example, I usually lead and I say, hey, thanks for taking this call. This is how I start, right? Like as a recruiter, I say, thanks for taking this call. I've seen your portfolio. I think it's okay. I just need clarity around a few things. And usually I get straight to the questions. I get to, I have a question around this, right? How do you do this? What's your approach to this? And I just want to know that you understand. You're not going to know everything from day one, right? So I usually ask about your journey, like how did you grow up? I think the better way to frame the question is tell me about yourself, right? Tell me what's your story. Usually I say what's your stories. Other recruiters might say tell me about yourself. A lot of people will answer that with verbal, it's vomit. Verbal vomit. You'll just vomit. I went to this school, I did this, I jumped from this cliff, I did that, I did this. Why am I asking this question? I'm asking this question to know what were your friend group like, what is your, do you understand our problem? That's the main thing for me. What's your professional experience like? I don't want to know whether you did skipping or not in the 9th standard, whether you won a kabaddi championship. Those might be important. Kabaddi championship. I pronounced something else wrong the other day.
Ziddi Matho.
Kolkota.
Oh.
I said, that was by mistake. I was saying it really fast. But yeah, I don't want to know that. What I want to know is, tell me an actual story, move me. Because humans only win when they're storytellers. Right? So I need a story. I need you to tell me a story that moves me emotionally, because it's an emotional decision I'm making hiring you. So a lot of people do that, right? I'll tell you some of the good answers, right? A lot of the good answers are answers that I already want to hear. I know it sounds sad. It's very tribal of humans to, or a recruiter to say, I already have an answer in mind to the question of tell me about yourself. If he's asking me tell me about myself, I should answer about myself. But actually it's not about that. It's about answering it in a way that pleases the recruiter. Unfortunate as it is. So, a right way to answer that question is to do your homework on the recruiter. Again, I'm going back to the homework piece because I think that's the most important. One of the best ways, just go to my Twitter, go to the people I'm following, read up their Twitter statuses, find out or their LinkedIn's, find out what they speak about, find out what they talk about, find out a little bit about me, and say things along those lines. It sounds like manipulation. Unfortunately, it's just how it works.
What you're basically doing when you're following people who Varun follows, Varun, when he's scanning up his Twitter feed, he's obviously seeing content from the folks he's following. So he has a set narrative that's playing in his head. He has certain conversations that might not be related to this interview, but these are talk triggers that are already running in his head. So if you can capture the conversation that's already going on in his head, it's going to be smooth. You'll be smooth. It's not interruptive. It's smooth because it's already flowing. Can I come to the fifth point?
Sure.
Fifth point, since Varun was talking about answering questions a certain way, there will be times, especially when you're going for a tech interview, that you don't know the answer to a certain something. And, that can be a weird spot because you're like, okay, fuck, am I going to get rejected because of this?
Just say, I don't know.
I would actually say, don't just say, I don't know. Follow it up with something else. Do not stop at I don't know. Follow it up with the fact that you are ready to go out, seek the information and get back in a certain time frame. Give them a time frame. Be like, okay, I don't know.
But I can tell you in 24 hours.
I haven't gotten the chance to, come across this in my life. I haven't had the chance to work on this or think through this. But give me 48 hours, give me 24 hours, I'll get right back. That shows
and send them a beautiful short email.
Yeah, that shows them follow up with the knowledge within 24 hours. That shows them that you are a thinker as well as a seeker. In a world that's run by Google, people don't want know-it-alls. You don't have to be a know-it-all. Not knowing anything is okay. In fact, no one's expecting you to know everything. But people want you to be, someone who can discover things, uncover insights, and bring them in time, as per the process. That's what people are looking for. Now, these were the 5 points, but I have an underlying point, and this is a mistake that a lot of people do in all kind of interviews. And all kind of deals as well, and I've seen a lot of clients and partners, and this is always a red flag. This could be the bonus point. That is disgruntled employees, and it's such a sucker because what do I mean by disgruntled employees? Disgruntled employees are people who've left a certain organization just because their boss was rude to them about a certain something. And they're like, okay, I fought with my boss and hence I'm here. And that's the reason I quit. When you give that instance, what you're also showing is that you're not far-sighted. You're short-sighted. You're not able to understand the company's goals. You are just too caught up within yourself and your, thin skin. That's the opposite of thick skin. And
I think it's less about that. I think it's more about, see, if you can complain about one company,
you're disloyal.
you're disloyal. Forget about loyalty, right? If you can complain about one company, you're likely to complain about the next, which is us. And the thing is, being professional means no matter what you go through, you deal with that company. That's your responsibility with that company to deal with it the way you want to deal with it, and then you move on. In the next company, you start on a fresh blank slate. You can't always keep. I have this one guy on my Skype, who keeps complaining about his company. He's like a top.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's a top VP level guy. Okay,
Yeah.
very very big guy. Probably taking millions home a year. Keeps calling me. Keeps complaining about his CEO.
And he wanted to join us as a top management.
Yeah,
But
he keeps complaining non-stop. I would never hire him. I would never ever hire him just because of the attitude he brings. If you're a professional, if you don't like a company, quit. Go join some other company. Don't stay in the company and keep complaining every 2-3 months. That's stupid.
The best way to handle this, I'm not saying you cannot be disgruntled, you can be upset about how the things are, but the best way to handle this is not by ratting about your ex-employer. The best way is to call it out by using terminology like you feel underutilized, you feel unproductive, tied to your potential.
Professional
Yeah.
words. Just say, I wasn't happy.
My
I moved
potential
on.
is not being met. I feel
I wasn't happy. I
underutilized.
moved on.
Yeah.
Don't overshare. Don't say my boss did 1, 2, 3. My boss, called me at 3 a.m. and told me to. Don't. Stupid. You sound like a complaint box. Right? You sound like in 9th grade. One of those guys who went to the teacher and said, teacher, this guy is doing this. I don't want to hear about it. Right? I want an employee who can work hard, who can do well, who understands my audience. That's all. Right? Nothing else is very important to me. Cool.
I think that's about it. Martin's given us the time trigger. Time for the question of the day that gives away this fancy ass bumper of a box.
Can we play the
Tune in
music,
to what
please?
matters.
Wait. Let's ask a question. What's the question? I'm going to be your.
I want to ask for a 7th pointer. Of course, we try to cover the key pointers. Have we missed out anything? If we have, what's that 7th pointer? Give it to
What's
me in
one
writing.
tip? Give us a tip.
Yeah.
And if it's a good
make it
tip-
elaborate. Don't give me a 2-word answer. Don't impress or don't talk too much. Give me something elaborate. I'm watching your responses here. Do we have the time limit? What's up for grab is this massive ass box. We're still not going to show you what's inside, but it's triple the size, and it's surely worth it. So what's the 7th tip, guys? What's the 7th tip that you've got for us? Your time starts now. We're watching.
Come on.
Come on. Did you quote too many examples from 9th grade today?
Right?
Someone's calling you out. Why so much 9th grade today?
That's how it is, bro.
What, do we hit puberty at 9th or what?
Don't Google any answers on Zoom interview. I would do that. To be honest.
Yeah, basically what he means to say is don't open new tabs. I don't know how proficient you are with that is the factor.
Your own. This is nice.
Which one?
This is nice. But unfortunately, you're stealing because I saw this on
Varicool
Yeah.
video. हमको भी पता है कहाँ से लेके आते हो तुम.
You think we don't know?
हाँ?
Come on. See, same. Everyone copying.
Guys, what is this, guys? Why are you so
I
disappointing,
expect
guys?
better from Avalonians.
And I expect, I expect you guys to know that we already know.
And we know where you got it from also.
Did we get anything?
Cool. I
Did
know
we get the answer? Sure.
All right.
Sure.
But hasn't this person won before?
I don't know.
I feel like this person has won.
I don't remember. I actually don't think so. Not in a zero chill. I don't know if he's won in the other episodes. But it's okay, deserving nevertheless.
Yeah, it's okay. You win 2 boxes, you win 2 boxes.
You
That's
win
how it
a
goes.
hamper. But who wins it? Who's the guy?
So the winner
Is-
is
You gotta read out the answer first. Don't reveal the name.
I'll tell you the answer first and then we'll come to the name. The answer is one of the best ways to crack an online interview is humor. Like whenever there is some connectivity issue, lag, whatever, convert it into a humoristic approach so that you leave a better image. Yeah, sorry, it was BSNL. I think that's a very, very good. Again, the humor approach works. We've seen it work. We tend to hire a lot of people who have that sense of humor. Remember, people try to hire people like them. And today, everyone wants to hire a stand-up comedian. I mean, you don't have to be a stand-up comedian, but people prefer to hire one.
It's not just like, people prefer to hire people who are like them. That's fundamentally true. But humor covers up like beautiful. Humor covers up like beautiful. You can cover up any glitch in the middle with humor. And you're likable when you're humorous.
Okay.
So who's the guy?
The winner is I think you won it before, but
Is
Shubhendu Sen. You win.
Shubhendu. Congratulations.
Is it
Shubhendu Sen.
Sen.
Shubhendu
You have-
Sen.
Mr. Sen. You have
Congratulations.
won an Avalon Meta Live box. And if you aren't subscribed, you don't
You
get the
won't get it.
opportunity. Please subscribe, hit the bell icon, and yeah, I hope you enjoy the box and tell other people about it, and hope this video helped you guys too.
That's a wrap.